बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अजीज़ तलबा अस्सलाम वालेकुम। हम लीनियर अलजेब्रा के बारे में पढ़ेंगे फ़िज़िक्स सेमेस्टर 4th, और इसमें है मैट्रिसेस एंड रो ऑपरेशंस। A matrix is a rectangular array of numbers. Array of numbers means a table of numbers. We subscript entries to tell their location in the array. This is a matrix denoted by the capital letter of English alphabet A. All the elements, which are also called entries, they have been described by the subscript. By the subscript, it shows the location of the entry. This first element represents the row, and the second element 1 represents the column. This A11 mean the element in the first row and first column. Similarly, A23, it is an element in the second row and third column. These entries is denoted generally by Aij. Here the I represent the ith row and this J represent the jth column. This M by N, we read this as M by N. This M by N means the order of the matrix or size of the matrix or dimension of the matrices. Matrices are identified by their size. This M means the number of rows in the given matrix, and this N means the number of columns in the given matrix. Here this is an M by N matrix. That is, this matrix have M rows. This is first row, second, third, and mth row. Similarly, first column, this 2 means second column, 3 means third column, n means nth column. So it has M rows and n columns. This is the called size of the matrix or order of the matrix. Now here we have a matrix having 1 row and 5 columns. So that matrix which have a single row and any number of column is called a row matrix or row vector. Here we have another matrix which have 1 column and 4 rows. So any matrix having 1 column and any number of rows is called a column matrix or column vector. Now here we have a matrix having 4 rows and 4 columns. Such a matrix is called a square matrix. A square matrix is a matrix which have the same number of rows and columns. In this matrix we have 4 rows and 4 columns, so the order is 4 by 4 and it is called the square matrix. Here we have the definition. A matrix that has the same number of rows as columns is called a square matrix. In this matrix we have 4 rows and 4 columns, so the order is 4 by 4 and it is a square matrix of order 4. It is a square matrix of order 4. These elements make the diagonal of this square matrix. This diagonal is called main diagonal or leading diagonal. This is the main diagonal or leading diagonal. Now here we have the system of linear equations. In this set of equations we have 3 variables x, y, z. These variables are also called the unknowns. If we write the coefficient of these variables as a matrix, we call it a coefficient matrix. Coefficient matrix is a matrix which is made of the coefficient of the variable x, y, z. If you have a system of equations and just pick up the coefficients and put them in a matrix, it is called coefficient matrix. So these numbers are the coefficient of these variables, so this matrix is called coefficient matrix denoted by M. If we include this column separated by a vertical line, then we call it augmented matrix. So here we have, if you take the coefficient matrix and then add a last column with the constant, this is the last column with the constant, it is called the augmented matrix. Often the constants are separated with a line. So here all these coefficients have been shown here. This is the coefficient matrix, and these constants have been written here, separated by this line. This whole matrix called augmented matrix, denoted by A. Sometimes we denote it by AB. So this is the augmented matrix. In this augmented matrix, this part of the matrix is called coefficient matrix, and this whole matrix is called augmented matrix. Now here we have elementary row operations. Elementary row operations are the three operations which are applied on the rows. That's why they are called elementary row operations. Moreover, we can apply the operations on columns, then we call it elementary column operations. So let's see what is elementary row operations. What are elementary row operations? Operations that can be performed without altering the solution set of a linear system. What is elementary row operation? This is the first out of three elementary row operations. Interchange any two rows. If we interchange any two rows of a matrix, it is one of the elementary row operations. Multiply every element in a row by a non-zero constant. If we multiply the elements of a row by some constant, this is the second elementary row operation. Add elements of one row to corresponding elements of another row. This is called the third elementary row operation. Sometimes we use operation 2 and operation 3 at the same time. We are going to work with our augmented matrix to get it in a form that will tell us the solutions to the system of equations. The three things above are the only things we can do to the matrix, but we can do them together. That is, we can multiply our row by something and add it to another row. यहाँ पे इसका मतलब ये है कि हम बाज़ औक़ात सेकंड ऑपरेशन और थर्ड ऑपरेशन को हम इकट्ठे यूज़ करते हैं, यानी हम किसी रो के एलिमेंट्स को किसी भी अदद से मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं और उसी रिज़ल्ट को किसी दूसरी रो के एलिमेंट से ऐड या सब्ट्रैक्ट करते हैं।